So over the last year or so, people have been hearing a lot about ray tracing, especially leading up to the launch of the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. It is a feature that Nvidia has touted for years as well, especially with the RTX graphics cards. So when Xbox announced that the Xbox Series X will support ray tracing, people were understandably excited. Ray tracing has the ability to make your games look more realistic than ever before, but it does come at some cost. Welcome everybody and thank you for joining me. So today I thought we could jump a little bit deeper into ray tracing support on the Xbox Series X. It is something that lots of people are curious and confused about, including myself, so I thought we could go through this feature together. Now, ray tracing, to sum it up in the best possible way with the help of some sources at Windows Central, is an advancement in realistic lighting for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. With ray tracing, it takes the environment around you and tries to create a more realistic world by simulating light interactions with virtual objects. It tracks the way light moves and then gives realistic effects for shadows, water and even your character's hair. Now, to give an actual summary, ray tracing aims to deliver a new advancement in realistic lighting for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, designed to improve lighting, shadows, reflections and other components portraying scenes. It aims to better simulate how light interacts with virtual objects, tracking where light moves around the environment, considering reflections, refractions and aspects of light traversal. But there is also some issues with ray tracing. It does come at a significant cost to performance. It is something that can reduce your frame rate by half and in some cases even more. Now, most people know that Xbox Series X is powered by AMD. Ray tracing is a feature that is only supported by Nvidia. At least it was. AMD is starting to catch up, but how does Xbox get around this type of gap? Well, as pointed out by Windows Central again, Microsoft leverages an implementation dubbed hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, referring to its in-house ray tracing solution supported by the Xbox platform. Like Nvidia and its newest 20 and 30 series graphics cards, the custom AMD GPU inside the next-gen Xbox console features consideration to better handle ray tracing calculations. So this is one of those rare cases where they have brought out a feature on the console before they brought it out on PC. And just to be clear here, I am referring to AMD and not Nvidia. Nvidia has been supporting ray tracing on PC for a while now. Now, ray tracing is a lot more than just shadows that look pretty. It also has the ability to completely change a game. I have made a number of videos showing off a game like Minecraft, and by adding ray tracing, you just completely get a new experience. Ray tracing is already on a number of current games for the Xbox Series X and S, and we can definitely expect to see a lot more. Now, if you wonder how ray tracing will work on a console, well, most of the games will just have it enabled automatically. However, you will have an option to turn it off. Now, another good thing about ray tracing is that you don't need any extra hardware like a fancy new TV. While features like 4K resolution, 120Hz support and high dynamic range requires the best Xbox Series X 4K TVs, ray tracing instead changes how the game render regardless of the TV or monitor used. Now, as I have said in the beginning, ray tracing does come at a cost. Performance does get affected. Shadows takes lots of frames. Now, to get around this, Nvidia has developed DLSS. Now, DLSS is a technology used by Nvidia to render games at lower resolutions, then use artificial intelligence and machine learning to upscale the frames of the game to higher resolutions. This allows PCs with compatible GPUs running games that take advantage of the tech to hit higher resolutions and frame rates than usual, even when resource intensive effects like ray tracing are enabled. That is a quote from TechRadar. Now, AMD for their part is working on a solution called Fidelity FX, which pretty much will serve the same purpose, and it will be available on Xbox and PlayStation consoles as well. Now, in conclusion, let me just give you my thought on this feature that has been so heavily touted. Just a year ago, my view on this feature was simple. Ray tracing looks awesome, but it is just not there yet. It does have lots of potential to make your game more realistic, but it also also drops frame rates by half. Although ray tracing is a nice to have, it's just not a must have, and if you make your choice on which GPU or console you are getting, ray tracing should not really be a deciding factor. Now luckily since then, this feature has become a standard for almost all new GPUs released by the console with the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 or with PC, so you no longer have to choose between having it or not. I also see them doing great things with ray tracing as we move more deeper into the current generation consoles. But on that note, this is where I'm going to end it. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you would like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing, and as always, please remember to stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and I hope to see you again soon.